Mexican tobacco or Middle Eastern tobacco? Ibrahim Alqurashi. Let's talk about it.
Here's some codes to save you some cash on your next Middle Eastern niche or designer fragrances.
What's going on, guys? My name is Neeb. Welcome back to AROMATIX. Today we're going to be talking about the last one that I added to my collection. It's called Mexican Tobacco, from this whole tobacco lineup series from Ibrahim Alqurashi. It's not the last one that they came out with, but it was one of their top sellers, at least for 2023. And then they released some of their newer ones, like the Greek tobacco, French tobacco, Brazilian tobacco, Arabic tobacco, a lot of tobaccos, man. So I figured, you know what, Middle Eastern fragrance, let me wear some of my Middle Eastern attire. This is actually unique to Yemen. It's called the Jambiya. You wear the belt like so. You usually have sometimes also pistol strap, etc. Anyways, Mexican tobacco is going to be the fragrance we're talking about today. This is a relatively similar design. Well, it's the same exact design as the other ones. It looks like a Cuban cigar styled fragrance bottle. On the top, you have on the collar, it says Ibrahim Alqurashi. It's engraved and painted in black. And on the front, you have a little plate style that's also made out of the same material, I believe. It says Mexican tobacco, extrait de parfum, 100 mLs as well. Notes for this fragrance include top notes of cedarwood, dark chocolate. In the middle, we have lilac, we have cinnamon, and in the base, we've got amber, Mexican tobacco, and rose. So each one of these fragrances has the whole Mexican tobacco, Dominican tobacco, Cuban tobacco. I wouldn't really get too fixated on it. I don't think that it's actually sourced tobaccos from those regions, but it's kind of it's a cool theme, I suppose. Atomizer on this is really not the best thing in the world, and the newer ones have changed it significantly. So on initial opening with this fragrance, I get an almond-based style fragrance. Although the note breakdown doesn't say that there is any almond in here, lilac can give the accord of almond. Whether or not they actually use lilac or almond, I mean, the notes say it's lilac, right? But that's what the notes say. Lilac, however, can give you the accord, the almond accord, along with this frothy nature that resembles certain lavender fragrances. And that's kind of what I get here, and especially in the opening. I get this oriental vibe fragrance with some dusted spices, specifically that cinnamon, and then with the powdery rose, along with this earthy nuance underneath rather than the oody woodiness, and that whole stale almond style glaze around the entire fragrance. So very polished, very refined. If you like fragrances like, believe it or not, it reminds me of certain fragrances, even like Jebel, I believe it's Jebel Tamia, and even puts me in the same vein or family of fragrances like Alexandria too. I'm not going to say that it smells like it per se, but it smells like it could potentially be one of the other flankers. I haven't really gotten my nose on too many of the other ones, and I am actually starting to dive into Alexandria 3, Alexandria Oriental, but that's a good thing for this one. It means that it smells pretty high-end, pretty high quality, but also the whole scent composition smells like something of that nature. So it's got this powdery rose along with that cinnamon dust with an absolute oriental vibe, has the earthy backbone coming from that tobacco with that very distinct whole lilac vibe coming with the frothy nature of the lavender along with this almond glaze style to the entire fragrance. So that's pretty much it, man. There is some cedarwood in here. It's pretty significant, just adds a little bit of a bright woody, brittle vibe as well. Although there is cedarwood and dark chocolate in the fragrance, what really gets my attention immediately is that almond style glaze. But when you really think about it, or when I actually, you know, try to break it down, I can sense that bright, brittle woods underneath it all. And then there's also a chocolate styled nuance. But for the most part, it's gonna be shining around the whole lilac, rose, cinnamon, etc. That's what I get most of with this fragrance. It reminds me of the similar polish of other almond-based fragrances with a slight cherry undertone to the whole almond vibe, which is common even with actual almond extract. So it's as simple as that. I'm not really blown away by a fragrance like this, and it actually reminded me of a lot of other fragrances that use almond, and this is actually happens to be sitting right here. Oud Lemon Mint by Mancera. Although different fragrances, the whole almond style is relatively similar. So just to place this in a category or in the likings of other fragrances, those are the other fragrances that I mentioned that this kind of reminds me of, okay? So it's in that family of fragrances. One of their top sellers, a lot of people like that polished and glazed almond with a lot of other fragrances, like, for example, Parfums de Marly Pegasus, etc. Those are usually, you know, very appealing fragrances to the masses. For me personally, I'm not really the craziest about it. Now, however, However, the wearing of this fragrance was something else. It actually lasted on skin for only about 6 to 7 hours, but on clothing, it was there to the next day. So you absolutely want to spray this on clothing. As far as projection goes, on skin, it only gave me about maybe an hour, and even then it was like a good scent bubble, 3 to 4 feet, which was pretty solid. But because I sprayed it on clothing as well, it was still leaving scent trails everywhere. The scent trail of this is fantastic. And how do you assess scent trail? Really, honestly, you just walk and you walk behind yourself, etc. And compliments as well. Compliments will also tell you whether or not you're actually giving off scent trails, etc. And that's exactly what this one got me. It got me 2 compliments while rocking this. I personally rocked it to the gym. I don't think it's the best scenario. We'll get into that in a second. But overall, total performance is not freaking bad. I would say that this is average on skin at best, and on clothing, it's above average for sure, easily to the next day. When you spray something on like this, I wouldn't personally recommend spraying it on more than about 6 times, just because of the fact that the whole almond glaze nature can be a little bit cloying if you overdo it. I did overdo it though. I definitely did overdo it. But anyways, occasions for this fragrance. This smells like a fall springtime style fragrance, and you could potentially even get away with it during the winter, but there are better fragrances to go with during the winter time. That whole glazed and lilac vibe puts me in the blooming spring, or even during the earlier days of the fall. Those are the seasons that I would personally recommend it in. And as far as occasions go, you can honestly dress this one up, but I wouldn't really say you can dress it down too much. The whole polished and refined vibe, it seems like it's a little bit too high end to just be rocking as a daily signature scent. You can potentially, I wouldn't personally signature scent this, but if you're going out to dinner, if you're going out to like a semi-casual, semi-formal, that'll be good, or this will be good for exactly that. Although that's the most ideal scenario that I find this one to work in, I think you can still dress this one up fairly well. So it will do just fine in like a dinner date, etc. This will be really good. It's that whole glazed almond polish and refined vibe with this one. Prices for this, you can find anywhere from 130 to like 90 US dollars. If you're lucky, you can find it for that low in the US at least. Check the description. I'll put a bunch of links with codes and authentic sellers where you can find this exact bottle. I'd personally rate this fragrance an 8 out of 10. For me, if I wanted to be a little bit more opinionated as far as my taste, I would give it about a 7.5. But keeping my taste aside just a little bit, obviously taste is going to have some role in the rating scale. 8 is pretty solid. I'm considering the price point, I'm considering the longevity, I'm considering the occasions, and just overall versatility and mass appeal. I think it's fair enough to say that this is an 8 out of 10. That's pretty much all I have to say about Mexican tobacco. If you're interested in any of the other fragrances, make sure to check out my older reviews. They're actually significantly older. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Please make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button. Till the next one, peace.